Right, hello everyone. I've entitled this video The Grip of Death for a couple of reasons. One is that a few years ago I was diagnosed with a problem called dystonia, which means I'm losing fine motor control in my hands and my neck, and it causes an oscillation. I used to fly radio control helicopters, and when I got diagnosed with dystonia that came to an end. The cost of repairs was getting very high. Just recently, since I've retired, I've taken to flight simulation programs, and I've been playing around with DCS and X-Plane recently, and one of the things I'd noticed was I was gripping the joystick to the point that my hand actually ached and the tremors were increasing. Now obviously on a PC based simulator you don't need force to move the joystick. It's a very light touch. So in this video I've done here, I'm trying to use a 3-finger or a very light touch to try and improve my flying, and also trying to improve the oscillation I get in my hand. Now for this test I've used KLAX airport because it has a number of hotels at the end that have rooftop landing sites, and so it's great to be able to jump from one rooftop to another. Now just recently I bought myself an Oculus Rift headset, which I have to say I'm really pleased with. The sense of immersion is fantastic. It takes a bit of getting used to because of the graphical quality. I was used to a triple screen system when I was iRacing and very high res graphics, but the sense of immersion and the sense of depth and the 3D effect obtained in the Rift is fantastic, and I can highly recommend it. Later on in this video I've included some Oculus footage just to show the difference in approach. One of the things I'm doing at the moment is flying on a flat screen monitor that's 42 inches wide and gives a great view, but when I approach anything I have to look down in the right hand footwell and try and judge the distance accordingly, and generally it's not that accurate. Now I do have track IR, but I don't find it works that well for the sense of depth or the sense of the height you're flying at, which the Oculus works every time. So one of the things you'll notice in the videos later on is the fact that when you approach a landing site, you can get the height and the angle much better than you can when you're flying on a flat screen. Now this is only my opinion. I'm fairly new to X-Plane and I only fly helicopters, but certainly I suffer, being a new pilot, from the oscillation of coming into land and then normally overcompensating or not keeping enough forward speed going. When I run the flat screen this is really apparent. When I go to the Oculus Rift, certainly a big improvement for me. You'll see here as we jump from building to building that it's a great place to practice landing and approaches, because it's a small area. There are differences in height. One of the things I keep doing is catching the tail rotor on the stairs or the building coming in, so nothing ever goes that smoothly. But you'll certainly see even here as we approach, I tend to put the landing zone in the right hand footwell and try and balance it to come down at a reasonable angle. When I get very close to the ground I tend to lose my sense of forward motion and tend to oscillate backwards and forwards quite a bit. In the Oculus this definitely doesn't happen. You tend to go in and get it right, and if you get it wrong it gives you the confidence to rotate and reposition yourself. So here we are with the Oculus and we're approaching a building at the moment. A little bit of turbulence there, but you'll notice that I'm coming in at a much lower angle, and you really do feel very confident that you're going to make the landing zone or get the height exactly correct without any worry of too heavy a landing. One thing I do have to say is it hasn't been smooth sailing getting the Oculus to actually work well with X-Plane. it works brilliantly well with Digital Combat Simulator with very high frame rates and good graphical quality. To get it to work with X-Plane has taken quite a lot of work. I'm running Lasso as a program in the background to look after the processor, and the desktop tray item which super samples the Oculus to give it greater detail. It doesn't quite show in the videos here, but the quality has certainly improved since I've done that. But it's not been an easy task, and I only hope that the X-Plane people have something in hand for us people that are using Oculus and 3D headsets. One other point I'll make is the homemade collective I've made. I've been messing around with different greases to change the tension on it, and it's a bit sticky at the moment, so it's not given the smoothest of up and downs. But again, as I said earlier on in the video, if you've got a Hotas, definitely have a go at making the modification. It's well worth doing. Again, on this building you'll notice that the approach in can be much lower, and you can judge the height a great deal easier than you can when you're running just a flat screen. When you run track IR, you can place yourself over the pad looking down, looking left and right, but you still don't get the sense of height that you do with an Oculus. And I think this sort of shows as a scrape over the top here. I catch the tail rotor on the top, but you can see it's a great deal more accurate. We can only hope that in the future the resolutions get better and the units get cheaper, but certainly if you ever get the chance to try it out, highly recommend it, give it a go. One thing I would like to say is the information on the forums has certainly saved me probably months of work in trying to find some of the solutions to do with the Oculus. Generally there's someone out there who's either suffered it or done it already, and just hunt around and you'll normally find the answer. Generally the X-Plane forum, xplane.org I think it is one of the best sources of information, and I've tinkered around with some of the other programs, Ortho 4XP for instance, and things like that. Some of the commercial software that's come out I've purchased, and there's been super quality. Orbix in particular have done very, very well, and I look forward to their up and coming England version, which should be the entire England map, which will save an awful lot of work for those of us that have just done different sections. But I hope this sort of shows the difference between flying on a flat screen and the immersion side of flying with the Oculus. Probably pretty boring just watching the helicopter go up and down, but really the depth of perception that the Oculus gives, and I would imagine similar headsets will give in the future, it really shows the direction that flight sims are going in, and can only fare well for all of us, I think. And so it only really leaves me to say thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I hope you enjoyed it. There are one or two others, and I hope you'll search those out. I've used the name Wonky Joystick Productions for a number of reasons. One is the dystonia that I have and the shaking of the hands, and the other one is that my joystick is pretty old and wonky, and that's where the original idea came from. So give us a look up on the YouTube channel Wonky Joystick Productions, and also I have a web page which I'm working on at the moment, wonkyjoystickproductions.com. I should point out that I've been using the OBS software, and it's been a bit of a steep learning curve, so I hope the quality of the videos and everything will improve as my knowledge improves on that as well. But the OBS works extremely well, and it's handy to be able to put picture in picture and some titles up at the same time. Certainly I'm not doing any live twitching or anything like that, apart from with my hands, that is. And so I'll leave you with this last approach on this hotel here, or it might even been Citibank if I remember rightly. And so finally I can only say I think the future looks bright for flight simulation software. Certainly on the other side, when I was iRacing, things were improving at a vast rate, and let's hope that the next version of X-Plane that's released will cure many of these problems we're all suffering. So it only really leaves me to say thank you to everyone who've made videos before this on X-Plane and the Oculus stuff, because that's been my main source of learning what I've learned, and hopefully this will add some knowledge or give some enthusiasm to some other people to give it a try. Once again, thank you to everyone that's taken the time to watch it, and would appreciate a thumbs up if you liked the content. So do look after yourselves. Until next time, bye from me.